Hey, what are you doing here? How did you get in here? Well, welcome. So I just started renovating or cleaning, whatever you call it, my Maxxair Fan. It had a water damage here in my shed, so I will have to check the circuit boards to see what's wrong. It wasn't running properly. It's on the print itself. And I will also have to check the electric motor and the gearbox. You see here it's leaking grease. Perhaps an O-ring faulty. I guess so. Well, first of all I have to clean it thoroughly, so it'll probably make it easier to see what is wrong. And this is what it looks like when you have taken everything apart in all the little pieces. You see I painted the grid here, 2 times primer and 2 times auto paint, made it so much cleaner. And the rest of it is cleaned also, and then well, just have to be reassemble again. Hi there. It's a very cold morning and there's a lot of frost, but now the sun is shining and the roof is actually quite dry. I was actually in the middle of drilling a lot of holes inside the van, but I thought the weather is just right for the installation of a Maxxair Fan. This is a used one, took it off my old camper. This Fiat Ducato, the long model, there's a designated area suitable for install roof hatches and fans, etc. So I just made all the measurements on the roof. It's a 40 by 40 centimeters. Just drilled the pilot holes in each corner, and then I will expand them to 8 mm because it fits the jigsaw blade. It's of course steel blades. And I have 2 sticks to put in the corner so it doesn't fall down the wrong way. You'll see that a little later. Let's see how it goes. I'm using a so-called step drill. Makes a much nicer hole in such thin materials. So in order not to paint too much afterward the cutting, I'll mask it with some tape. Reduces the risk of doing damage to the paint with the saw. And when the hole is cut, I will treat all the surfaces with a deburring tool and some paint, of course, and let it dry before moving on. let's make a test fit. Well, fits just like it's supposed to. There's a few millimeters of gap. See, when you take the measurements here, the edge goes on the insides. This is the 40 centimeters, and I have made the holes 40.3 millimeters. Right here is the edge you see where all the sealant will be between the roof and the fan. Right where the screws are. So in spite of all the other van life YouTubers, you gotta have the mandatory shot of someone crawling out through the hole in the roof. But listen up, guys. It's freaking difficult when you have the size I have. It's not gonna happen. Bigger roof hatch next year. So I made a frame on the insides, put it up with some assembly glue, and this time I have actually put it on the isolation. I want to try it, and if it leaks I will make sure to let you know. I put 3 layers of Terrazone. It's a very elastic butyl tape. As soon as you press it together it becomes very, very sticky. It will be on half of the area which will be sealed. And sealing not so much where the butyl tape is, and most of it just outside the butyl tape on the roof. And then I will drill right through the metal and into the wood. It looks like it's still gonna be dry out here, so I'll go inside the workshop and apply Sikaflex on the frame, get ready with its drills, screws and everything else to fit it. I'll just try to explain what I'm doing here. I have about 40 years experience as a mechanic, and also fitted a lot of windshields and sunroofs and roof hatches and so on. The way I do it, well, none of them have leaked up until now. What happens to this butyl tape I put on the roof? As I say, it's very elastic, and if it keeps getting sticky when you press it together. This brand is called Terrazone in Danish, and it's just butyl tape from one company. Where it's placed on the roof is equivalent to this space on the frame, and then again when it's pressed together this edge is flush with the hole. So I use this butyl tape to fill the gaps in the roof so it is the same height all the way around. This means that here we'll not need so much sealant. Just right here where the butyl tape is, and a little more on the outside. The real trick here is how you apply it. How I'm gonna explain this. You apply it in a pointy way, like a pyramid, an iceberg or so. If it's the pointy end up, or that is against the roof in 3 different beats, when you press it onto the roof and screw it down, it will be pressed together. This butyl tape, I've had it in my inner pockets, and before that I had it on the heat inside central unit, and also I did it with the sealant Sikaflex 521 UV, so it's it doesn't deteriorate in the sun's UV radiation. Let's get a hole in it. And then some rags to clean up with, because this is sticky. But first of all, get yourself a decent tool to do the job. This one is very stable. No matter how much I press on it, how much force I apply, it won't bend. Just so much better than the cheapest ones, and it's actually not that expensive. Then the nozzle on and make ready. So I start cutting it diagonally, because when you start, it's a very little hole and you'll never get finished and you won't get enough on it. I maybe get it a little more, yes. And how do I make this V shape in the beads? Well, cut a V shape in the nozzle and make sure when you start to apply it that the V is away from you. So because of the cold outside, I will apply the sealant inside here and try not to mess myself and everything else up when I have to climb the ladder and the scaffold. I'll better take some more rags with me. This is some of my old socks. Very good at doing the job. And I already made sure the drill is ready outside with the new battery. The pockets are full of bits in the one side, screws in the other side, so let's get on with the sealant. Should you have a stop on the way around, just make sure there's enough. You can see the the V pointing away from me, so that when I go that way, it presses out the sealant in a pointy shape. I actually thought of the form Toblerone chocolate has. It's actually the same. But way easier for the sealant to get pressed together on the roof when it's not the three big round beads of sealant. I have already made number 2 cartridge ready. It's laying inside the house on the heat. Good triggers also, when you come to a corner or to an end, release the pressure on the gun, because then you won't have excess sealant all over the place. Number 2 beads right in the middle, and when you use a V, all 3 of them are the same height. As always with the sealant, keep it heated up, because it makes it so much easier to press it out. And on the Maxxair Fan, there's some really nice tracks just to lay the bead on. And then the outmost sorry, and the thing people do is put a lot of sealant on the outside. It's not gonna work. You have to seal between the two items, between and not on the outside. It's not gonna work. It's like peeing in your pants to keep it warm. It feels really nice at first, but it's not gonna last. So do it right the first time. It seems I'm lucky enough just to have to use 1 cartridge. That'll be a nice change. Because when you first start on a cartridge, you have to use it in a few days or it goes off. So I put the heating on inside the car, just under the roof, for well, about an hour. So I got my rags ready, all my screws, some different bits. And I actually managed to get up without getting it all messed up. So why do you have different bits when I always say use the same damn screws and the same job? Well, apparently I didn't have enough of the long stainless steel with Torx, so I had to take a few out some of the others. So, ready to go in. Let's see how that goes. Move it in place and just press slightly. I'm not putting that much pressure on. Then I just start drilling. The reason I drilled through it all and ruining a drill bit a little bit that way, it's a simple question of having all of it embedded in the sealants. The drill bit is of course fitted exactly to the screws, so that when the screw go in, it bites both in the metal and in the wood. And because I pre-drilled the holes, it's not gonna crack the wood underneath. Just keep your hand under, so you don't press on the wood with all your weight. Some people will prefer to pre-drill the holes in the metal and the wood, and it's okay also, but I think it's I don't think it's necessary, because when I do like this, I don't see any damage to the roof or underneath. Remember, I took this off my old jumper after 2 years and over 100,000 kilometers, and there was nothing there. You can get a lot of sealant liquids to straighten out the beads. My way, it's not good for your clothes and it's not good for your digestion probably, but the easiest and closest to hands is just spit and a finger. Nom 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 nom. But of course, just don't eat it. It shouldn't be necessary to say it, but you will probably say, "Oh, you're taking all of the sealant off," but no. As I said in the workshop, all the things outside doesn't matter. It's what's in between the two layers. I use a little of the excess sealant here to cover the screws. Not really necessary because it's stainless steel, but should there be any little itchy bitchy tiny hole, it's gonna be sealed that way. I actually seem to repeat myself a lot of times with this sealant, but it's one of the things I see most people they fail in. They put it in and then they use 2 or 3 types of sealing on the outside, and the sealing is not bonding to anything. It's so terrible to look at. Cleanup takes a little while, so I just speed it up a little because I can't even watch myself doing so much a job. Let's try to zoom in here so you can see exactly what I'm talking on. In between, there's the little beads in between the fan and the roof. Everything outside is worth nothing. Actually, if it's not connected properly to either of the two on the outside, you have the risk of seeping water through. See, when I push in the middle, the bead is moving. That indicates there's a fill all the way through from the outside to the inside. So 3 barriers plus the terrazone or the butyl tape that's compressed will be a hinder for the water to run in. And I'll sure to let you know if this one gets leaking, because there's only one person who's gonna hear for it, and that's myself. And I'll have to make it. Any comments, please leave them on the video. We can always have a talk about it. So 2 screws in each sides, and the rest of the fan is assembled and put on. Looks nice. I'm actually contemplating if it rains tonight to see if it's watertight, but let's look on the insides and see how it goes. You see here the sealant has been pressed all the way in also, and all the way to the outsides. We'll see if I can zoom in here, right? So that's another indication of the Sika flex being all the way from in to out. So there you have it, job done. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.